Ladies and gentlemen, all rise for the RankKing's court.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the greatest spectacle on the internet. It is the RankKing's court here, Tuesday, 6:30 on Twitch, but you already knew that because you're right here watching with us. I am, of course, the wonderful Rank King, Austin Moorhead, alongside Oracle Votash and Noble Knight Greg. How we doing tonight, boys?
Pretty good.
Not too shabby. I'm just having a dog with me while I do this, but aside from that, I'm good.
Dogs are nice.
Dogs are very nice,
Actually,
man.
just got a dog, Austin.
Yeah.
You got a dog with you right now?
Not with.
I was gonna-
With us tonight, we have Steve.
Yeah,
Co-worker Steve.
Yeah, he's not a dog.
He's not a dog.
No.
The way that you said it. Okay, anyway, so I thought that you had the dog with you because that would have been dope too for all the viewers.
I should bring him sometime. Maybe I will.
But yes.
I mean, Brody's hung out here, so I mean, I feel like it's
I'm sure he'd be okay. Yeah.
it's accepted.
But yes, as you had mentioned, this particular episode has a guest. We welcome Steve. What is going on, Steve? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Always loving to have a person that's insightful of the topic. We'll get to that in a second. So, but yes, we're here. The seltzers are chilled and ripe. We got a good.
I thought that was a liquid death.
Yeah, me too. I thought.
No,
I mean, that's the unofficial drink here.
It really is. I haven't had one in a while though.
Yeah.
Well, then you can't say it's the official drink. You got to still walk.
Unofficial.
The Kogos.
The unofficial.
The Kogos I went to, they didn't have like anything last week. I didn't stop today, but
I didn't think they sold them at Kogos.
yeah,
Huh.
that's right. Where do you get yours?
Gecko.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yes,
Learn something new.
before we get into last week's topic or this week's topic, can you tell the loving people at home, either the Oracle or the Knight, where exactly the RankKing's court is taking place this evening?
Well, since I am actually back in the studio, I might as well just say that the RankKing's court is live today from Union Fitness Studios, located on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. Union Fitness is more than a traditional gym. It's a place where you can transform yourself inside and out, with a variety of classes based around fitness, yoga, strength, and performance training. At Union Fitness, they believe that it is their duty to hold themselves and their clients to a higher standard. They practice what they preach and uphold the values that make Union Fitness the community that it is. Go to unionfitness.com today to sign up for a consultation. Through Union, there is strength.
That's a little bit more
There
on
we go,
par this
Steve.
week, bro. All right.
Steve's been watching the show for a while now.
Hey, that
He
you know
knows how
why?
to roll.
You know why I think he's watching the show? Because he has that glorious piece of merch on that we love and so much. The Rank King Court versus the World shirt is still up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Go to tftbstore.com to get yours today. They are only available until the end of July.
Yep. So hurry.
And let's also not forget, too, we have the best commercial amongst everyone, too.
Yeah, for
Come
real.
on.
I mean,
the-
no one's gonna have a Mortal Kombat-esque intro.
No,
that
no.
our
you like
dear.
that commercial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, see, no one can touch that production work whatsoever.
That's all of the brainchild that is the Oracle Ryan Votash. We appreciate you, good sir, and what all that you do. So, yeah, let's touch base real quick.
Clip it
And
back.
Steve can put his input on this if he has opinions on it. But people are fucking like losing their damn
They're
minds
pretty mad about
over
it.
this.
Spoiler alert for behind the scenes people. The Rank King came in hot beforehand and was very angry, very perturbed about.
I'm
about some stuff.
confused. I'm like more frustrated and confused than anything.
So perturbed, yeah. That's basically what I was going.
Yeah, that's a big word for me, but I get it. I get it. So, the Pixar movie ranking. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is the worst one yet." God, take his crown off. He's an idiot. What the hell are you talking about, people? I'm genuinely like, what movies will you put on? Someone said The Incredibles was the most overrated film in the world. Like, are you insane?
Yeah, there were a couple comments like that.
Are you insane? Like, get over you.
Smalls called you a clown, basically.
Well, you know what? Clowns have big feet, and I got small feet, so
you're
he's
definitely
already
not a
wrong.
clown, right?
He's already wrong. So
Deke did defend you on the Incredibles take though, saying that the person who made that comment needed a hug. Clearly.
Yeah.
If you actually go further, he says, "Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just said that you
He
wanted."
did say that.
Yeah.
But
Steph was upset Coco was at 9.
I don't get that. Is it? I'm assuming she's upset because it's even on the list.
No, she's upset that it needs to be higher.
Oh, is it? Okay, really? Okay, so that's an interesting take. I like that. I just think that the one kid was like, "This man's got cars like behind Wally," and I'm like, let's be honest. The only thing that Cars was good for was the ka-chow, like the memes. I mean, come on, people. Let's be realistic here.
Well, I mean, in today's society, that's all that matters, man. Is can you get a meme out of it?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not that many Coco memes out there.
Society is
No,
weird.
I
Though,
still have to see that one.
do you have the Pixar one up? If not, it's not a big deal.
We currently do, yes.
Yeah, we have
Okay,
that.
so Steve, look at this right here. I mean, do you honestly think that this is a bad top 10? I personally don't think it is, but I'd love to hear your opinion since you're going in blind with this.
I think you could tweak it a little bit. The Incredibles is a little bit high. I think you can move Finding Nemo to number 2 easily.
Yeah.
Inside Out, it didn't come out when we were younger, so maybe it's not as influential to us, but it's actually really good. Could bump that up a little bit.
That was a good one.
Bugs Life, really underrated. Bump that up a little bit.
Yeah, that was the one thing. My shout out to Billy Bob. Love that name. Love
Billy
that.
Bob.
Love that. He's a character to say the least. I love him. But he's like, yeah, this man's got Bugs Life like way below. Like Incredibles overrated. Like everyone needs to chill on the Incredibles and realize that the genius that it was, man. Okay. I get it.
I'm
I get
surprised
it.
I get it's a good one, but like, it wouldn't be my number 2 at all.
I'm surprised more people didn't call you out for putting any of the sequels on here.
Well, the one did say, I think, Toy Story 3, and I had mentioned that if people, because this is the thing, people don't watch it, they just love to comment. Because I said that I was restraining from putting any sequels on here because I was going to most likely stick to the originals, but...
That's fair.
That's fair. Put that caveat out there so people are aware.
So there you go, people. Actually watch the show and you might understand what we're talking about
Instead
here.
of
But
just
it's
the clips.
Exactly. Clips or just the work that we generously put out to the public.
I'm clipping that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although,
Little PSA.
although-
Watch the show. Buy
although-
the shirt. Watch the show.
although I must say though, from last week though, probably one of my new favorite impersonations of you doing Bruce from Finding Nemo was excellent.
That was a good one.
Are you sure it wasn't the slug woman from?
Roz.
Nah,
Monsters,
that
Inc.?
Roz is like.
That was actually a good one too.
Roz was okay, but I mean, for me, Bruce, I don't know what it is. It's just the deep kind of voice you get from it, and the fact that he's a recovering addict is also what makes it hilarious.
That's the other thing is that you put addiction into Finding Nemo. We talk about all the little dark hints that some of these Pixar films had, and they had addiction for Finding Nemo. You realize children go to this thing, right? I understand the parents have to go, and maybe that's a little chuckle out of them, but I digress. But let's switch gears, so to speak, and talk about king of segues, man. I'm telling you. What our topic is today, and I've wanted to kind of introduce this with everything that's been going on as of lately. We're going to be talking the Fast and Furious franchise tonight. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm not the biggest fan. It's very but this is the point coming from a guy that also owns all 32 Kaiju Godzilla films on DVD. It's either one thing or it's not.
Throw that in there.
Yeah,
Well,
I get it. It's like you have one obsession versus
Right.
another.
It's
I
like-
understand.
It's like how I used to play outside instead of
Shut the
watch
f-
Pokemon
Right.
and all that.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
Steve, did he ever tell you that? He says that half the time when he doesn't know the stuff, he's like, I don't know. I was a kid and I went and played outside. I didn't sit inside,
Yeah.
like nerd.
You could have
Like,
sat outside with a Game Boy playing Pokemon.
oh, it's
I
all.
don't think I ever had a Game Boy.
Oh man, where was your childhood?
I had
Where
those
was your
handheld games. I didn't have the actual Game Boy.
Need a detective to find the traces of your childhood, man. I swear, there's somewhere in there. I know.
I mean,
it's-
I've driven through West Mifflin. There's not a whole lot to do out there for.
But yeah. But yeah, so with all the things going on with the Fast and Furious franchise, I kind of put this in the category almost with the Transformers films, how those were. It's almost like it was one almost every summer that kind of just kept going and going. You could kind of, I don't want to put Sharknado honestly in the category of this because I think it's
Oh my God!
hear me out, because it's not. I'm not saying it's like tier. I'm not saying it's tier related, like they're on the same level. But I'm saying like it was a movie that was essentially made every single year. Like every year, you can even put the Saw category in this, the Saw franchise, because it was debated over and over again that each year you know that there would be one film coming out of like these particular movies. And Fast and Furious was definitely one of those because it was the growing popularity essentially like of how ridiculous can we get? Like how crazy can we get for all these stunts?
That's what I appreciate about Fast and Furious, to be honest with you, is that the first 4 movies, honestly, the fourth one kind of did set up the story, even though it wasn't like that great of a movie overall. But the first 3, like, there wasn't any, no one ever got any type of vibe that it was gonna morph into something like this, of all things. It was when the 5th movie came out and everyone saw the absurd amount of stunts that went into this thing. People were blown away by it. Because I remember when the 5th one came out. 5th one came out when we were in college and stuff. Because I remember our roommate illegally pirated it and we watched it in our dorm, actually.
Don't say
I love
that.
you say. Well, you said
come
roommate.
on.
He said roommate. He didn't give out a name.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't say his name. Don't worry about it. But
Don't call us. We'll call you.
yeah, exactly. But no, like when that movie dropped and people like were so stunned to see the ridiculous amount of stunts that were involved with it, and people wanted more, and that's how the franchise essentially became a thing. Like if it was just the 4 movies, like no one would be talking about it at all.
Well, yeah. And Steve, we brought you on because you know you're a fan of the franchise and everything. So go ahead and talk to us about it a little bit. Like, what gets your I want to say what grinds your gears because that's a bad take on it, but essentially what does grind your gears? What makes you want to shift into reverse and pull out and want to go see these films, man?
So I would disagree that if they only made the first 4, no one would talk about it. They're kind of cult classics with car people.
That's fair.
And it's funny, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores for these movies, the first 4 are terrible.
Yeah.
But car people love them.
Right.
And then the rest of the movies, much better scores, but car people are like, eh.
Once
You
they
know.
veer away from it, it's a
Yeah.
completely different dynamic. Yeah.
It's more action based.
Right.
More action, and we talk about it a little bit. There's a little bit of science fiction essentially that goes into it as well, a little bit sometimes. So
I guess
we'll
the
see.
puppy ruined his bed.
Aww.
It's been bad.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Morgan, in what way did he ruin it? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, well if it's bad, don't say it. But yes. But yes, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into these movies, like you said. I generally agree with you, Steve, that I think the first 4, it was all about like, it wasn't necessarily about maybe the story or the plot or everything, but the dynamic of different cars and everything that came in, like all the muscle cars that, you know, the people go see at these events, at all these car shows. They're like, we want to see what those are like on a track, you know, racing through the city or anything like that. Whereas now, it's more or less of how crazy these action sequences can get. And yeah, car people are like, you know, they see these cars, but it's not essentially about the cars anymore, in my honest opinion. It's about how
100%,
crazy this
yeah.
stuff can go. So
I'm very curious to see if you tried to have people watch the very first one, how many, like, current fans of the Fast movies would be like, I can't believe this is the first movie.
it would all
Yeah.
depend, right? Because like, you know, the last one just dropped not too long ago, right? Fast 9. So
A couple of weeks
Well,
ago.
yeah, so we'll be touching base on that. But I've been chatting enough. Let's see how we go with our first radical ranking.
This was just stuff I couldn't worse.
Furious, and I'm here talking the top man and Fast and Furious. So,
Is that your Cartman impersonation?
no, it's not. It's not. Would you say it was my Cartman impersonation?
Yeah, for a second.
Hey guys, we gotta go talk about the Fast and Furious card. Let's go get it. Get at me, impression people. I know what I'm doing.
Were
Let's
you actually
go.
on South Park?
No.
That sounds legit.
No,
All right, that's my new favorite.
that's your new favorite.
That's
All right,
my
I'm
new
glad.
favorite.
That was a good one. That's
Hey,
probably one of your
guys.
best ones.
Hey guys, don't go home now. We're gonna talk about this. So, the first radical ranking is probably one of my all-time favorites because I had so much fun looking up these. We're gonna talk about the top Dom Toretto family memes from Fast and Furious.
God.
I love
this.
it.
This one's gonna be great.
I love that this is the first one you pick.
I wanted to veer. I wanted to get. You know, everyone's gonna have their opinions on what we're gonna do, but I wanted to go out of the box because on TikTok, this is a trend now. Like people are doing all this stuff where they had these two guys in a car on the one, and it's like, you can't go out there. There's no oxygen. It's like, I don't need oxygen when I got family. And he's like, he's just propelling to the moon, just yelling family, like. So I wanted to kind of do something like this, kind of stray away from like a little bit of the serious stuff and kind of just have a little bit of fun with it. So all these are pictures that I found on the internet that support the memes of this show. So,
All right.
Let me know now. It's gonna be a good one.
Okay.
so number 5, let's get into it. The Avengers.
Okay.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
So you have Thanos, obviously, with the line, I am inevitable. And instead of, Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man, you have Dom Toretto. Nah, family is inevitable.
Oh my god. Oh,
I just want to
that's
see,
great.
because there were talks a lot. I want to see how ridiculous like this can get, because there are talks that they want to combine I don't know if it was I know it was the Fast and Furious, but I don't know if it was Transformers or Jurassic Park. But I know they said they wanted to combine franchises on this. Like, there's actual talks and production of trying to do this.
Yeah, I want to say it was Jurassic Park. I heard. I don't know how true that was, but it was definitely Jurassic Park.
I just want to see like a T-Rex running down the street and be like, that T-Rex is mad because it doesn't have family.
That would be amazing.
Oh my god! But yeah,
Steve's not a fan of that.
No, please, dear God. No. They've done enough.
all right. So we have the
I mean, how can they go bigger? To be honest
Yeah.
with you.
we
That
have
would
the
definitely be it.
we have the Avengers at 5. Number 4, SpongeBob.
That's a good one.
It's just perfect, man. Like, it's just like they
God.
just photoshopped Dom's face like right onto SpongeBob.
Ah, the internet is undefeated.
And the thing is, I want to see him because I think that SpongeBob would be a decent like driver for the Fast and Furious franchise, because it's just chaos
Wow,
driving.
yeah, you're not
It's
wrong
just
on
chaos driving in a sense. So SpongeBob obviously being not able to pass his license because he just smashes through buildings and stuff. Like, Dom Toretto should, if he wants more family, should call like Under the Sea at the Pineapple. Yeah, man.
Just
Get
flooring
SpongeBob
reverse
on your
streaming
team.
backing up over and over again for all 3 hours of the movie.
That's what they have to combine with. SpongeBob.
With SpongeBob.
The Bikini Bottom.
He's driving and I was like, freeze! Big toe.
Wow.
Oh man.
I bet you Dom Toretto's got big toes too.
I would Craig, I don't know why you know that.
Just saying, I'm assuming.
Oh, man.
I would bet money on
I'd
that,
bet
yeah.
on that, yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Possibly one of my favorites because I love the show in general.
It's fiction
number
crap, yeah.
number 3, Rick and Morty.
Oh god, I need to see the.
It's perfect.
This was actually taken from the heist episode, because this is when everyone had that action line was like, You son of a bitch, I'm in. And so they just Photoshop his hair out to make him look like Tom and give him a corona. Like, it's just perfect, man. Like, there's nothing better than having this. By the way, have you guys seen the second Space Jam? Have you guys watched that yet?
No, not yet.
I have, yeah.
Spoiler alert for those are it's not affecting the story or anything. There is a Rick and Morty cameo in the Space Jam film.
It's a great cameo. I'll give you that. It's a great one. Don't give the actual thing they do, but it's a great cameo.
It's wonderful. I had no idea it was happening. I had no idea what was happening until I watched it, and I said, Bree and I are sitting on the couch watching it together, and I'm dying. I'm like, yes, let's go, let's go. It's weird just because I don't.
And it's with the perfect Looney Tune for it as well.
Exactly. Well, you figure because like it's Warner Brothers, so like I don't think that Rick and Morty has anything to do with Warner Brothers. So that was the fact that they everyone was bitching about like how they're doing adult stuff in this film, and they put an adult cartoon in there as a cameo. I'm not sure why, but I love it. Let's move on to number 2. My God, I love this one. This is Home Alone.
Oh yes.
Oh no. Oh my God.
I don't have a family. I don't want a new family. I don't want any family. Families suck.
This is gorgeous, man. Yeah, this one's great.
Oh my God, man. I mean, if Dom showed up when the burglars were there, he'd like, just get him. I don't even care anymore. I'll take out the traps. Just having this, man. Steve, put your knowledge into this, because I don't know how you're feeling right now when I'm going through all these. I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if it's what. I'm dying over here. So
as much of a fan as I am of the series, I didn't see the last 3 until this weekend. I binged the entire series.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't. I had to do my homework. I didn't realize how much family was in them.
Oh yeah.
And all these memes made so much more sense after seeing the last 3. Yeah, they go for it.
Yeah. I'm assuming when you came in, you probably weren't expecting all of this to start off with just
No, this is a great ranking.
We're starting off hot and heavy, right? So this is how. So let's put our foot on the green light and just go with this number 1. Greg, you'll love this.
Green light.
On the pedal.
You'll love this, Greg.
Okay.
Number 1, Dragon Ball Z.
Oh God. No. Oh yeah. Oh no. I need it.
Go on, go 10. Broly made me strong, but nothing is stronger than family. Ah!
Oh God.
This will be my number 1 too. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z guy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew when I looked up, I figured there'd be one of this, just in the amount of father-son Kamehamehas that happened. I was hoping to find one with Cell, but I'm very, very excited that this one was the one that I found.
Oh my God, that was perfect.
All right, wow.
Steve,
Holy
do you
crap.
have any other ones? I know you're a big meme guy.
I tried to show around a couple earlier at work, but apparently they were a little too spicy for internet, so could not show those in public.
Okay. Well, hey, we love a little spice with these. We love a little controversy that goes along, but apparently the internet is unforgiving. So, let's switch gears and hit radical ranking number 2. As you all know and love, I love discussing kind of the villainous aspects of these films. Now, some of the villains in the Fast and Furious, let's be honest, they are a little trash. But I think that there are 5 decent. Well, when I was researching and doing all this stuff for this, they were coming with more like grunts and henchmen type villains, and I was like, okay, I guess that's why. Because I looked up one that was like, there's like 25 of them. And I'm just like, I don't think there's that many villains. I don't think there's that many villains in this franchise.
Well, there's also a lot of them that also end up switching sides too. When you think
That's
about
true.
It, so.
That's true. So,
Pretty much
yeah.
everyone seems.
Hey, as long As long as they're family, right? It all happens.
Everyone's
So,
family.
God damn it.
We're a family
So-
here.
yes.
Right?
And you know what family does? Families support each other. Go buy a RankKing's Court
Look at
t-shirt.
you.
TFTBstore.com, boy!
If that transition doesn't get you to buy a shirt, I don't know what will.
For real, I listen.
That's
King
our
of
new
segues.
commercial right there.
King,
You want a new commercial? There it is.
There you go. Short, simple, and to the point.
clip to clip. There we go, boys. So let's get into this. So Steve can put his 2 cents on all of these. These are the top 10, top 5 Fast and Furious villains. Let's start off with number 5, Johnny Tran.
Good one. I tried to binge it. I only got to the first one though. Didn't have enough time.
I agree that he belongs in the list, but let's be real, he has, no actual effect on the series whatsoever. So having it number 5 is pretty fair.
I will say, go ahead, Greg.
Also, in hindsight, he's not technically the big bad in the first one.
It's his cousin, right?
No. Technically, Dom and them were the
Oh,
villains. Yeah.
Right. Now, I understand that. And I will say, spoiler alert, I didn't put Dom on this list because the way that he is character-wise, he's more of, the hero character of this franchise. Like, he is the face. So I don't think putting him in the villainous category would have done any justice to it. But, I mean, Tran was more or less like the original. Like, kind of like the OG sense of this, in my honest opinion. Where, he's just another guy, but he's the one that started. It has no connection to the story, but he is the first, play-on-play villain that we get to see in this. And I thought the importance of that alone, being with his racing ability and what he can do, I thought that it would be kind of, terrible to kind of leave him off the list. So.
I respect that.
Yeah. You put the OG in, I understand it.
Yeah. And Steve put it, he's, what was your sense on it, Steve? I'm sorry, I was fidgeting in my seat trying to.
You can't leave him out because he is, the first villain you see in the series, but he kind of disappears after that, so it doesn't really affect all that much.
Doesn't he get killed at the end of the first one? I'm pretty sure.
Spoiler alert, Greg! Spoiler!
Or was it just the cousin?
It was, I don't actually know if either one of them die. I know he, kills one of the, one of the family.
He does,
Family.
if I remember the end of it, both Brian and Dom end up chasing them while they're on bikes. I just can't remember if they end up killing them or if they end up getting away.
I know he slides under a car under that bridge. I don't know if he dies or not there.
It's left ambiguous.
Yeah, he might have gotten arrested,
He
but
might return later on.
God.
Who knows?
even if you die, you're never dead if you're family.
Very true. Very true.
Okay, Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Let's move on to number 4, possibly one of the huger ones, and I have my reasonings a little bit of why I put him here. So, number 4, Hernan Reyes.
This one I respect, especially because he was the big bad in the one that kind of shifted the series.
Yeah.
I'll say. So I would say he deserves to be in top 5 at least.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which one was he in?
He was Fast 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially the guy that, isn't doing a lot of the driving. He's the gangster kind of leading everything. So he's the one giving the orders. He's the one leading the charge. So I think that alone is a little bit more villainous because, let's be real. The villains don't like to get their hands dirty. They love to kind of have, other people kind of leading it. And that was his role. And he was essentially the big bad of that. So, having him off the list again, very disrespectful. So I had to put him at 4. I appreciate it. So we move to our number 3. She is a psychotic woman, man. Number 3, Cypher.
Yeah, I mean, Charlize Theron as a bad chick, sign me up every day of the week.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think she deserves to be a little bit higher. mainly because of the fact that she's the only character that I know of that is still bad. That has like consistently had bad motive and stuff. Like there's never been any like side thing where she like tries to do something good. Like this woman would literally kidnap Dom's kid. Like
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, she isn't just out there, doing typical bad guy stuff. She's playing like psychotic mind games.
Right.
So
Yep.
the sadistic side kind of comes to play in there.
I also loved her haircut in the new film. I will say that.
exactly.
In F9. Have you guys seen that? I thought it was dope.
I haven't, but I did see the trailer, so I know what you're talking about with her herself. But yeah, no.
Yeah. So I enjoy
I
it.
absolutely get with that.
So, but yeah, like I said, it's the psychotic nature of it that I think it's more of a, again, not necessarily doing a lot of the driving grunt work, but essentially putting your spin on how can I up the take? What can I do in mind games? Which I appreciate more of that. Greg, and you and I talk about superhero comics and villains and everything. We know that personally, I think the mind game angle is better than any strength or ability that comes into play. So sign me up for this woman all day. But I didn't think with the other two, I kind of think that she's right where she needs to be. But yes, I can I can see the argument for why she would need to be a little bit higher. So
Yeah.
let's move on to number 2. Quote unquote, he said this in the film, he is the Black Superman, Brixton.
Oh, I had no idea we were including spin-offs in this. Okay.
Oh, it's
Okay.
a Fast and Furious, man. I gotta put it in there.
Okay.
So, but yes, this high-tech motherfucker is awesome. This is where with this film, Hobbs and Shaw, you saw a little bit of the science fiction aspect of it with nanotech and how it works. I loved this character. Idris, I think that's his first name. I can't remember the last name of the actor, but man, he was awesome.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, thank you.
Yeah.
I loved him in this film. I thought that he was the right amount of charisma. I thought it was the right amount of tech and stability and power that he puts into this. Sign me up for this dude all day.
It definitely looks like a villain. It looks like a badass.
He's good in everything else that he's in. I, in my 8-movie binge this weekend, didn't have time for a 9th movie, so I have not actually seen this one yet, so I can't really comment on it. But
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Honestly, I watched up to Fast and Furious 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the last one I probably seen.
Hobbs and Shaw takes place between 8 and 9. So that's essentially where it is along the timeline on that. But what I appreciate about Idris Elba, well, first off, in Hobbs and Shaw, the chemistry between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham is phenomenal. And when you add him to it, it makes it even better, just because they just play off of each other so well in it. So I appreciate that. He's maniacal, but he also has a little bit of a humor side to him, so you find him entertaining.
Exactly. That's what I say. It's all about. I would think if I'm thinking in the WWE, Greg, this character would be 100% on Vince's radar. Because he has the
Shades of
nanotech.
Grey, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I completely get with you on that. Yeah, absolutely.
Make him stronger, make him big. That's how Vince likes him, right? It's
Yeah, that's all.
Who would you compare him to if he was a wrestler?
Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
I think that's I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. Bobby Lashley's learned to talk lately, so I'll give you that.
Yeah,
It only took him how many years, Greg?
Decade. God.
He's still champion?
He's still champ, yeah.
Yep. And finally, at our number 1, I know I'm gonna get maybe heat, but he is by far the number 1 villain, Deckard Shaw. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
I don't know how Greg feels about this one.
Greg, put your opinion on it.
Greg's thinking about it.
Put your opinion on it, Greg. Come on, man. You
down,
can't
put your
deny
thumb
it. You
down.
can't deny it.
I would
Let him know how you feel.
I feel like I would have put Owen up there.
Owen's not a big. I believe me. I thought Deckard was better
I
at
agree.
playing the villain.
I get it, yeah.
Shaw.
My
Yeah,
problem.
Deckard for sure.
My problem is that it's the same thing. Deckard does end up becoming an anti-hero in the sense. And also, the one thing that we all were, crushed by was the realization that we thought he was the one that killed Han. Turns out, that's not what happened. So, it's
Spoiler
hard.
alert.
Oh, please.
It was in the trailer.
The trailer spoiled it. So, that's my one grief now. The big things that we all kind of thought of him as, didn't do them, and then he also ends up being on the right side in the spinoff. So it's kind of it's hard for me to justify it.
So let me put that aspect in a comic book sense, because Venom is very much a villain, but you're
putting him in an anti-hero status then?
I'm putting. Oh, well, hold on. I'm getting there. Because Venom is very much a villain in the comics, but there is a sense where he does go anti-hero. Now, that definitely doesn't justify all the shit that he did, because he is very much still a murderous rampager, just on a little bit of the right side of justice. That's not an excuse for why you're not a villain. You've done some shit in the past, and you got to recorrect it, but you're not doing it in the best sense of the law. So I could make that argument for Deckard Shaw, but I want to hear Steve's take, because I know that he said that Deckard was the better villain, I think, out of him and Owen. So Steve, I want your opinion. Is this the best Fast and Furious villain?
Yeah,
Deckard Shaw.
I think it's fair to say. I mean, Owen turns good at the end of.
The end of 7, I think.
Spoilers. Yeah. But I mean, let's be real. We have to assume that in 9 or 10 or at some point, Cypher's going to become good too. So you can't really hold that against them. So yeah, I would say that Deckard does a better job creating havoc than Owen does.
That's fair. Yeah, that's also fair.
Give the people a little bit at home, Steve, for why Deckard is considered a villain. Why is he justified for being the number one Fast and Furious villain? Is there something he does? All this. I'm putting the spin on because I know that this is your thing. This is you love these films. So why exactly is Deckard Shaw the number one Fast and Furious villain?
The first time that you see him on screen, he's visiting his little brother in a hospital room. You think, oh, that's nice. He's taking care of him.
Wait, then that wasn't the first time.
Oh, okay, technically not the first time. At the beginning of, what is that, 7?
Yeah.
Beginning of 7, first time you see him in that movie, he's visiting his brother in a hospital room, and on the way out, it keeps panning out to more and more of the hospital being destroyed because they didn't want him to see his brother. He just wrecked an entire hospital, killed countless people, doctors, patients, didn't care one bit, just slaughtered the whole thing. So,
yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
I love that. That takes me. I've seen it, but I'm also getting images from the past of The Dark Knight where Joker's just walking out of the hospital and just blowing it all up.
Yeah.
Not that crazy, but still, I'm getting that image just from my head. But yes, I would think that Deckard Shaw. I know that in the spinoff he eventually turns the right cheek and everything, but like Steve said, you can make an argument for all a lot of these villains that were on the wrong side at one point that they eventually go good. So.
Well, it's also for interpretation too. I mean, you could technically make an argument that Hobbs was a villain in Fast 5.
And that Dom was an original villain as well.
Right. So it's all for the movie interpretation, basically.
Yep. So that's awesome. I'm interested to see where we're going to go here because it is time for one of the favorite segments of the show. It is time for the Great Debate! All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time for the Great Debate is in order. If you had a car in the Fast and Furious saga, what would it be and why? And I know that Forager may or may not be in the chat, so unfortunately, rest in peace, Forager. We miss you, my friend.
Wow! Whoa! Jeez, man. You just killed Forager.
Rest in peace in the chat. Rest in peace in the chat, because it is sad to see him not in here. So, what I will do with this, I don't want to make Steve go first, because I think that's a little rude to our guest. So, I can put myself at 1, Steve at 2, Greg at 3, and Vo at 4, if that'll be suffice for everybody.
That's fair.
Steve,
I
do you
always
have?
have to go first for some reason.
That's because
Well, I'm not-
likes
yeah.
to torture you.
I'm not putting you first, folks. I'm not doing that because I feel like I always have to follow you. It's always like me second and you first, which is
And you're tired of losing to me.
Which is
That's
weird.
what it is.
Which is
Oh my
weird because
gosh.
it's
That's
Get-
what it is.
which is weird because
Get
it's the
the
ranking
hell
show. So I
out of
understand
Am I the
for a second.
ranking?
Apparently,
You
you're
are
ranking.
not.
According to
You
the
are
ranking,
not.
you are. Yeah.
Hand over that
no.
card.
But I mean, we have the gavel, so it's.
You have the gavel.
Yeah, so it works.
I guess
out.
I have to buy my own gavel.
You're gonna have to, unless you come to the studio and just steal it. But I don't know if that's cool or not.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. I know that it's not a big like muscle car for like, you know, wrecking other cars or everything, but my all-time favorite car, and I even did this as a kid, like wanted this car as a kid. I still want it now because it's my all-time favorite. I love Mustangs. I love them to death. And there was one point where it was my 16th birthday, and my grandmother, she was like, open this up, and it was a little like Mustang car, and she was like, I was just like, what is this? And she's like, well, you said you wanted like a car for your birthday, so I got.
Wow, what a troll! That's
It's
amazing.
like the video, I don't know if you guys have seen, where the old age we're talking, because we're all old, the Vines, back when Vines were a thing.
I don't think it was Vines. It was just Vine.
I don't know, but they had one where it was like, hey, son, I got you.
I know.
But they were like, hey, son, I got you a Toyota. It's in the garage. And they're like, what? And he goes down in the garage, and it is a literal plushy Toyota. And it's a Toyota. But I think for mine, it would have to be quite possibly, in my mind, the best version of a Mustang as old as can be, a 1967 Ford Mustang. Like, it's got the power, it's got the look, it's one of the cars that I'm just like, I would love to have, and I imagine just driving through heists in the city, just showing this thing off, like maybe have even some flames come out the back. Just like I would want to have that sense, like, you fucking can't touch me, I'm the shit. I got a 1967 Ford Mustang. So that's where I'm feeling with this. I love the car. I would have it most likely, you can say the color too, but you don't have to if you don't want to get that specific. But I would kind of have it at like a red or a blood red kind of feeling. Like I want to feel like,
okay.
Well, it's like a dark red. Like I love that sense of like, it's more of like
It's always gonna be blood with Austin.
Yeah,
it's not blood.
I think the
Scoring.
actual term for blood red is crimson. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, we'll say crimson. I like that.
Yeah,
So,
blood red.
so a crimson 1967 Ford Mustang. That is my pick. That is my baby. That is what I'm rolling with. And we go to our guest, Steve. What car are you picking and why, good sir?
So, kind of similar. I've always wanted these since I was a little kid, and you know, in the movie sense, they were very poorly represented in the series. Mine would be a last gen Viper ACRX.
Okay.
You know, V10, can't go wrong with that. Only came in manual, can't go wrong with that.
He's a big car guy.
I could tell just from that, yeah.
Fairly simple to slap a twin turbo kit on there, make over 2,000 horsepower.
I'm looking at this now, Steve. I like this.
You know,
I like this car a lot.
The arrow, the big wing on the back, it's not subtle,
Yep.
it's kind of loud, but you're driving a V10, you know, domestic borderline supercar, so,
Right.
you know, there's that.
Wait,
yeah.
why is it borderline supercar?
Most people probably don't consider it a supercar. That one in particular, because it was a pretty track-focused model, was beating a lot of supercars at different tracks.
Okay.
But it's not doesn't have Ferrari on the front of it.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, it's a Dodge. People, you know.
People have like a.
Mhm.
Yeah, gotcha.
But
Out of a particular,
yeah.
because I'm just spinning my wheel here of my brain, what color would you have it in? What color would you have it, Steve? Is there a particular color that you would enjoy having this Viper in?
all black.
Okay.
You know, pretty heavy tints on it. Gloss black, but with matte black stripes down the middle. You know, like they usually have the stripes, but those in matte.
That's like
black wheels.
that's like metal. That's like metal hard. I love that a lot, actually. Like I can imagine like the old people of Iron Maiden and all these like Motorhead supporting these cars. Like I love that a lot. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. All black. Okay, we now go to Greg.
I'm going a route, because I'm not a car person, I'm going the route of an area that I remember fondly, and that is the James Bond movies. And
Okay.
now, this wasn't the best James Bond movie, but it was one of my personal favorite cars. And it was from Die Another Day. Some people call it the Vanquish. You can call it the Vanish. The Aston Martin Vanquish with the Vanish protection over it to turn invisible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? The acid.
The Aston Martin Vanquish.
Aston Marquish.
Marquish. What?
Are you saying Marquish or Martin?
Not Vantage, Vanquish.
Vanquish.
Vanquish. Okay. Yeah, I gotta look this thing up. Oh yeah, the new Aston Martin. Oh.
Yeah. The Aston Martin Vanquish. Yep.
Oh my, that
It's
looks.
a beautiful car.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe it's just the picture I'm looking at, but it's like, it's in place of like the colors around it, and it just looks smooth as fuck. Like
Yep.
holy.
It was the last Pierce Brosnan movie, and it was the best car he had. So
Why do I feel like yours would be dark green with the Dino Zord on it? Like why do I feel
Well,
this?
I wouldn't hold it against you, but I would actually prefer black with black rims actually.
I like that. I like that a lot.
British racing green. It's a great color.
That's what
For real.
it seems like it. I can get with that, but I think for intents purposes, I would just want something like sleek and slim almost.
I
don't hate the green though. That's a good
I know.
color.
I'm like taking it from your love of Power Rangers, and I feel like if you want to like switch gears to like the fullest and like just hit the gas, I feel like instead of like actually like the car roaring, it's like the roar of the Dino Zord. Essentially, just like instead, like let's be honest, this is
Wow.
Greg's wet dream of like a car with this. Like I'm just feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. The wheels are spinning.
When it turns on, you just hear the dragon flute. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, playing in the background. That'd be amazing. Yes.
Hell yes,
Yeah.
hell yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
You have given me some stuff to dream about.
My
Austin.
girlfriend's
I
tried me to
appreciate
feed me a cookie on air.
that. Hi, Bree.
You're always eating. I never get to eat.
Yeah, he really doesn't. He's a stick.
I always eat on this show.
I know you do. You rub it in my face.
Aren't you supposed
I didn't
to
even
bring
want
enough
it. I'm
to
like,
share with
no.
them?
She's like putting it in the
Yeah.
camera, so I had to take it.
Yeah, Steve said you need enough to share with the class.
Take it from a teacher perspective. I like that.
Yeah.
Are you
All
gonna
right.
Let your family here starve.
Yeah, really. That's rude.
There is
We want
one
a new
that
family.
Yeah.
there is one that I saw where it was like, can I get 3 ice cream cones? And he's at McDonald's. He's like, sorry, sir, like the ice cream machine is broken. And it's like, I just wanted to feed my family. And then they Photoshop Dom's face on the worker. And it's like, did you say family? And it's like Dom Toretto. He's like, family's the most important thing. We'll fix that right up for you.
That's great.
I hope Vin Diesel has seen these memes. And
Oh, he
probably
has.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
probably
he probably
loving it.
loves them. He has to.
All his friends probably send him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He probably shuts his phone off. He's tired of him.
All right, Vo. We set our dream cars for the Fast and Furious. What is yours and why? Because this is the most interesting pick, I think, out of everyone, is this last one.
It's my pick.
Well, because we've said, like, Mustangs, the
Yeah.
Viper, the Vanquish. Like, I'm kind of wondering where you're going to go
So
here.
I'm gonna go with. I used to play Midnight Club, the video games, a lot,
Ooh.
and I would always want the Lamborghini Diablo.
Okay.
And I'd want like the bright yellow Lambo with the tinted windows, black rims. That was always like my dream car in that game.
Okay.
That's very fair,
Diablo.
too.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's... I'm not crazy about the front of it, to be honest. Like, I like it.
You're just
Like-
hating on it.
Yeah.
You just always have to hate on my picks. It's
Asshole.
No, but I played those games like all the time, and I wouldn't even like. I'd do the racing part of it, but most of the time I would just drive them. Like there's that cruise mode. I would just drive, put like neon lights on them, hydraulics, and just drive through. And even my little sister would play. She's like, can we play the car game? I was like, yeah, sure.
We play the
Just
car
drive
game.
around.
Were you like a Need for Speed fan too and all
Yeah,
that?
Need for
Okay.
Speed,
Mhm.
Need for Speed, Midnight Club.
Now, I will say that when I played Grand Theft Auto and what I did with it, actually one of my favorite things was getting good cars and customizing the cars and everything. Because
Yeah.
I think that's the one, and maybe that's why I put what's her name's from Tokyo Drift, I think, on at number 2. The pink like lighting underneath.
So you don't even know her name?
Oh, Suki?
It was Suki, yeah. I was gonna say Saki, but I knew that was wrong. It was Suki.
That was too fast.
Yeah, Too Fast. Yeah,
Too Fast.
I enjoy that car so much, and I know like a lot of like I know that Derek was like, people are rolling around in their graves like looking at this thing like, what are you doing? But
Yeah, there were a lot
the
of comments on
Suki's car, like I love that just from the pink undertone and the lighting of it, because I do like pink as a color, and I think particularly shown off as a car, I enjoy it a lot. But
It's horrible, but it owns what it is so well that you can't hate it. It's beautiful.
I mean, that's kind of what I do. I feel like half the stuff I do might be horrible, but I own it and I roll with it, and I'm the best at it.
And people hate you for it. So yeah, it works perfectly.
You sack of shit. But yeah, that's how we roll. This is how we do. And that was our great debate, 2 and 2. So we are going to take a quick commercial break. I don't know if the commercial is what I think it is, but if it is, buy the goddamn shirt.
Ranking.
Hi, I'm Josh. I like pizza. Do you like pizza?
When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie.
We've let it coagulate. Show Greg, king of coagulation there.
Coagulation is key.
Homemade Greek ranch.
Do you like watching people eat pizza? Help me, because I'm on the quest to find the best pizza in Pittsburgh.
Hand-forged pizza. Bit of Vici. That's amore.
Make sure you're sending in your recommendations for the best pizza in Pittsburgh, because I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna hold it to my standards.
It's the aftertaste is the barf. Is where the barf comes
Oh yeah.
I agree. It's Bob Pizza.
Can your favorite pizza place pass the test? Find out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hopefully you had your bathroom break, because we are shifting right into the finish lane for this one. The top 10.
He's on point with these.
He really is.
I'm telling you, you can't touch me
I
with
feel
this,
like he
guys.
writes them down before.
I don't. This is all up here, man. There might be a lot of confusing stuff that goes up here, but a lot of the time it works.
Everything's
So,
everything's tangled, but when it comes to actually coming up with transitions, that shit's a straight arrow for him.
hey, I'd love to put it, man. But yes, the final ranking, the top 10 of the evening, is going to be the top 10 Fast and Furious movies. Because I think this is where like a lot of people differ in opinions. I feel like Steve and I, because I know Steve has his top 10, I have my top 10. We're going to differ back and forth, and it's fine, because that's what we bring the guest on here to do, you know. And if he happens to know more, I mean, we proved we proved when we did the fantasy football one that I guess Josh, you know, being at Sirius XM, shout out to them boys. They know what they're doing for the fantasy football podcast and everything that they do, and you know what they do and how they do it. So But yes, the top 10 Fast and Furious movies. Steve, take us away. What is your number 10 gas pedal?
So this is going to be kind of a weak start for me. I'm going to put Hobbs and Shaw at 10. I haven't seen it.
Ooh.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I admit it could very well be better than this, but having not seen it, and because it's technically a spin-off, I have to put it at the bottom.
That's a fair disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I'm gonna warn you, like this one's gonna be a good debate.
I'm fine with doing that. Like I said, I do have seen these films, but I'm not a huge fan of them. So if I get proven wrong in this, I get proven wrong in this. I'm not taking off the crown at some point because that's just fucking not happening. But
it's glued to your head.
Yeah, really.
At this point, can't get.
Well,
honest,
especially because you got a haircut now, so
They
yeah,
actually like instead of using a bowl, they use the crown. They just cut
that
it
makes so much sense.
That was good, Bo. I like that.
Hey, thanks.
But yes, so I get that. I get why, like, because you know, having not seen it, like, it comes into play where like you don't know if it's good or bad. So why even put it into a top 10 or put it into like the top areas of it? So I get that. My number 10 is gonna be one that we touched base on we talked with a car that was so bad it works in its own ways. My number 10 is Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to hardcore disagree with you.
I understand. Like, it's not my. I mean, I will fully admit I am not a huge car person. I feel like I fall into the category where like it's so crazy, it's ridiculous action sequences that I want to see instead of the car action. But I do appreciate both in a sense. But yeah, so I guess. Tell me why I'm wrong, Steve, and I'll make a argumentative for it. So,
I am going to bring up the Instagram ranking now.
Pick the spots.
I'll pull it up right now.
Pick the spots.
2 of your top 5 cars are in this movie, and yet you put it at number 10.
That's true. Listen, I get it. I know the cars for me like do it as what works, but like plotline and everything, like I'm kind of like trying to feel like where I feel like
you don't need plotline. You just need gorgeous nitrous turbo flames shooting up
this,
the cars and launching across bridges.
Yeah.
And plus, it does set up Paul Walker with the whole GTR thing that was kind of basically his trademark throughout the rest of the series while he was in it. It's obviously your opinion and your ranking, and you're right in that, but I disagree.
By all means, be more challenging to it. It's not even a big deal.
Yeah, at this point, I've heard every like thing back and forth, like with it, like you're an idiot, you don't know what the hell you're doing. But I firmly, it's not my thing, and maybe that's why I don't know, but it does make us like a certain mark in it and everything, but I just think maybe in my mind, maybe it was the over the top like drama and everything that went into it that, in my honest opinion, kind of happened. But I appreciate your opinion of you telling me how much of a fool I am.
Plus, it introduces Ludacris, and he has excellent hair in that movie.
I will give Ludacris's hair some credit. I will give that some credit.
His character is so different in that one compared to all the later ones. It's crazy. But I will say what I appreciate about Too Fast and Furious. I think it had probably the most like colorful and unique cars of all the movies so far. Like that's something that I appreciate. Like if you're gonna watch this movie, you're not watching it for the story because the story does suck. But the cars that they use into it, especially the scene like where they're in the garage area and then all of them just come out of the garage. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
Yeah. And like I said, maybe I'm a sucker for a story and everything, and maybe that's where it fell off for me. But Steve, go ahead with your number 9, fella.
Okay, again, kind of a weak pick for me here because I have not seen Fast 9. This is another one I haven't seen. I do plan on going possibly this weekend if I can. But I put it over Hobbit because it is part of the core series. Again, probably could be higher on this list, but I can't really speak for that.
Yeah, I will say I've seen it, and there are interesting marks that you can make of why this isn't one of the greatest Fast films, but being a guy that like watches for crazy shenanigans and everything, I might have it a little bit higher, but
No spoilers.
did I say anything?
You said you might have a movie.
Might.
Says
Perk up the ears. Perk up the ears, all-knowing Oracle. God damn it. This is how it works. No. No. My number 9 is Fast and Furious.
I do understand this one because I think this movie was needed because it like helps set up the rest of the way, and also because of the fact that we had to be able to reunite Brian and Dom at some point. So I understand that.
Yeah.
This is a fair one for me.
Yeah. Steve, what do you have? Is this? Do you think it's properly placed?
So, I mean, I have it higher on mine, but I think it's fair because it is kind of a transition between the first 3 that were just, cheap, flashy, racer cars running around doing their thing, and an actual story, plot line driven thing. It has elements of both, but if you like one or the other, you're not gonna like this one as much because it's neither. So, it's fair having it this low on the list.
Yeah,
So
it's like right in the middle, basically.
Yeah.
Does
Well,
nothing wrong, but doesn't do much right.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I went with this a little bit. Like, we talk about how great, like, some of the car scenes and everything were in the older films. And personally, for me, I didn't find a lot great with anything with the car scenes in this film.
They use a lot of CGI for
That's what I'm
car
saying.
scenes,
Like,
too.
it felt like it was, like, forced a little bit with some computer-generated shit. And I wasn't too much of a fan of it, seeing how the older films recreated what they had. And honestly, like, I'll go into another thing here. Like, I want to say it's a filler, but I don't, because it obviously connects other stuff. But for me, like, this is one of those things where, we talk about all the other franchises with like the Sharknado and Saw. It's like, this is kind of just another one. Like, it feels like just another
The whole
fast
thing's
film.
exposition for the rest of the series.
Thank you.
You know what it is? This is the Thor Dark World of the Fast universe.
This is that. Greg, you and I are on the same fucking wavelength. I love it, man. I love it.
That's what
Because
this is.
it's and Steve's right. I mean, this is kind of just like, for people that have like seen the films and everything, this is kind of just like not a slap to the face of like exposition, but it sort of is. Like, this is just how it works for this one. So when we move on, Steve, you're number 8.
All right, so I have Fast 6 at this one. At this point, I believe this is the one where he was. They were going up against Owen.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, again, movie doesn't do well. That's not true. It does do a lot wrong. Not a lot of it really grabbed me and made me like it. And the whole fighting the tank thing, kind of a little bit too much for me. When he kind of jumped from one side of the bridge to the other and caught someone and they landed on a car, kind of pushing it. But again, this is when they started going more into the action-based movies. So I understand this is when the series really started picking up momentum. So a lot of people like it, but it wasn't as much for me.
I get you. And you know what? It's everyone has differentiating opinions. Just like I make the comment where, everybody's got an opinion, everyone's got an asshole. Like, you can like it or not. So that's what it is. But I very much, I understand that direction because, like, a lot of people are into the action sequences like myself with these films. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. So I get why it's low for you. I will say my number 8 was your number 10, and that is Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay, I'm surprised you have it this low, actually.
Yeah, I know. It was a rough take for me with this, and the main reason I loved the main reason of this film was the whole, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is the one with the Samoan with Roman Reigns and everything in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the one portion of the film where I was like, okay, I feel this. This is kind of dope. Like, I love it. But like,
Roman Reigns is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd pull in a little WWE film or requisite with it, but
Trying to do a favor to his cousin, basically. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, but not a lot of the other things kind of grabbed me with this film. I thought that it was a little like, we talk about, we joke all the time with like family for this, but like when you don't have a lot of family in it, it's a little weird. It's a little off base, a little off-putting. So that's kind of where I felt like with this. Like, it was the direction was a little necessary for a spin-off to kind of see what it was like. But yeah, I was a little underwhelmed for what this film actually brought, especially when you have like Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Jason Statham like in this, and especially like I said with Brixton, how cool of a villain he was. But yeah, not very high on mine. I was a little disappointed. But we go to your number 7, Steve.
So I had Fast 8, the Fate of the Furious, here for this one. I probably could have had a little bit higher, but again, some of the slightly over the top things kind of pushed away from a little bit. The ending fighting scene where they're fighting the rocket packing trucks.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic, super cool, but a little bit over the top for me.
Which I get, man. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is also the first film that that was without after the tragic demise of Paul Walker.
Yes.
So, so they were going with a little. They had to really step up the notches in order to kind of dim down the sadness and everything that the that the original thing brought.
This was the first full film because I believe he passed while Fast 7 was still filming. So
right,
they had to do some filler on that one. But yeah, this is the first one without him fully.
Yeah.
This is one I haven't seen. I think I stopped right after the last one he was in.
Yeah. Actually, I would like your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
Is it weird, like in your opinion, that they still have him around in the movie universe?
No, you mean how they kept him around in 7 with the CGI?
Well, that, and also like in 8, they still reference him being like being there. It's kind of.
No, I mean it's justified since they play the whole family card so heavily that he wants to stay home with his family and not be attacking nuclear submarines anymore.
That's fair.
So it's fair. I do understand though that Mia comes back in the 9th one.
Yeah.
And if he has to stay home with the family, why is she out? So that's kind of a bit of a problem. But maybe they explain that better in the 9th one. I just haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I get that because I'm gonna agree with you here, buddy. Because my number 7 is also the Fate of the Furious. And kind of for like a little bit of the same reasons, we talk about how great Cypher was as a villain and everything, but this was a huge step. This was like a huge turning point with the franchise and everything and how it was gonna work. And it didn't quite resonate with me. Things were put into place that I wasn't too fond of and everything. And I know people were like, well, you were hyping about the action scenes and everything. The action scene at the end is fantastic. It's just not my bread and butter. I want to see a little bit more with it, and I just didn't get it for this one. So, Steve, we'll go to you for your number 6.
All right, so so for number 6, I had Fast 7 for that one. Kind of similar reasons to to 8. Just a little bit over the top. I mean, I know I'm playing the it's over the top card a lot, but you'll see when I get the top couple. Obviously, I was going for the car aspect.
Right, I get you.
I will say though, the whole CGI thing with they used his brother. Getting back to that, as a body double for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And when you watch that, even knowing that there were CGI parts, I could not pick them out.
Really?
It. They did a very good job. And the one scene at the end when they play that song, the it's been a long day song. I mean, it's like a super up close of his face, and you can tell. But for the rest of it, they do a pretty good job. With the whole CGI thing.
I'm surprised you have it here because of Deckard Shaw being this was essentially like the very first time of him as the big bad in this one, and how great he was in this.
Yeah, I personally couldn't have it higher.
That's understandable.
It's understandable. I will say, my number 6 goes to the latest one, and that is F9, Fast and Furious 9, and I've heard a lot from people because friends and everything have watched this that are fans of the franchise, and I will say, as much as I like John Cena, he was not a part. I couldn't buy it, man. I couldn't buy it.
Does he have hair?
Well, no.
Is it because you couldn't buy him as Dom Toretto's brother?
I couldn't buy him as the big bad, man. I mean, he could I was excited. I was very, very excited to see this because I wanted to see John Cena in more of that villain role. And I kind of got a little bit of that when I saw Bumblebee, if you guys have seen that. Like, I got that he was kind of like the general, the bad, and I was hoping that they would, build off that and make him bigger and him badder.
I mean, hopefully you'll get more of it in the Suicide Squad in a couple weeks.
I hope so.
Like, I've heard he's going to be great as Peacemaker.
I hope so, man. But for me in this one, he just didn't gel with the cast. Like, it almost felt like he was miscast in this. But yeah, to say that they had just a brother this whole time that just pops up out of nowhere and everything, I was just like, oh, come on, Fast and Furious, what are we doing?
We talk about his family, but we're not going to talk about that guy over there.
Well, yeah, it's like, if we're bitching about his family, then why are we just finding out that Dom, like, has secret ass brother?
I feel like they reference it, like, very briefly in the first movie or something. I feel like they do, because they bring up the accident, like, with his dad, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, but it's like we're supposed to, like, I get it being like fans of it, but we're supposed to remember that from like the first fucking.
But I
If
appreciate
you are a true fan, Austin.
But I appreciate the fact that they're taking like stuff from the other movies and kind of using it as a way to introduce it.
Make more movies. They're taking very little pieces of their old style of film and finding ways to make new films. That's what they're doing.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But all right, we are now halfway through. So Steve, number 5.
All right, so I had Fast 4 here, Fast and Furious. I know earlier on when we were talking about it, whenever you had it as your pick, that a lot of it was heavy on the exposition. But it was the first time there was any serious strife with the family, with Letty dying.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the movie, so it's not a spoiler. One of the final scenes when Dom pulls a sick wheelie and smacks the other guy into the car.
Mm.
One of the more badass, finishers in the series.
Right.
And it is the last more car-oriented movie in the series, so I think it fits in well. Before the series transition.
And then that's what we point out too, like how it is kind of like that it is essentially that transition piece for what we get, because it makes sense that it's the last car one when you think about it. Yeah,
it makes sense. It's 5 on your list. It's in the halfway point.
Yeah,
it works. So my number 5 is going to be the Fast and the Furious, number 5.
The original.
Yep.
Terrible.
Terrible of why it's here, or terrible movie?
Terrible. It should be higher.
Yeah.
It started everything.
And I'm giving him the respect it is by putting it in the top 5, though.
I mean, come on.
Top 3.
If you watched this movie when it first came out, no one would have thought that it would be what
exactly.
It is today. No one.
Exactly. Like, I will say, the dialogue in this movie is what got me. Like, I was just like, who the fuck is writing the script for this? Like, what are you doing here? And as much as, Greg and I point out all the time of going back to, like, the style of nu metal with Limp Bizkit and all that, like, this was placed in here, I thought it was, like, a little weird having a little bit of a nu metal sense in this. I mean, granted, it is like a 2000s movie, so like you're gonna have a little bit of nu metal in it.
There's Drowning Pool, there's Saliva, there's like all that in there too.
All the
like,
classics.
Oh god, yeah, like this reeks of 2000 stuff in there. But Austin, like people forget, like this first movie, it was based off of a magazine article about street racing. So like you have to take this movie with a grain of salt too, that when they made this, it was in a complete vacuum about it being essentially a one-off.
Exactly. And it's not like the plot and everything of this hasn't been done before. I mean, you have like Paul Walker being the undercover guy infiltrating like a drug racing ring, like, and again, like nobody thought it would be the spectacle that it was today, like from it. So at that point, I'm going more based off of what it was in the time frame. So it was essentially, to me, just another racing drug-filled movie that I put, but I had to give it the respect it is, being the one that it started it all. and for what it made today. So
I will say, it's true the movie had no budget and they expected no one to see it, but it literally changed the world. So to put it at number 5.
No, I think it deserves to be
cutting
top
short.
5. Yeah.
Top 3. Morgan said she's never seen any of these, so guess what we're watching?
Oh,
there you go. Bo had to binge them all. He's binging them all again.
Yeah.
I love that because when you research stuff for this show, I mean, you got Morgan. Did Morgan get you into Rick and Morty, or did you get Morgan into Rick and Morty?
I got Morgan into Rick and Morty. She's a big
So there-
fan now.
So here's the thing, like it's all a transcending wheel, man. They're all spinning. Full disclosure for the topic, wheels spinning. We move on to our.
That was horrible.
I know. I had to explain. I know.
You tried.
All right. There's Zippy Zip. We move on. Zippy Zip.
I'm gonna start saying that to people.
Jesus.
All right, Steve. What is your number 4?
All right, so I seem to have maybe left one off the list because I think I'm on my number 3, aren't I?
We're number 4.
We're at number 4.
Yeah, we are at number 4.
Which one did I do last?
Let me see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The whole
Which one did I
plot
not read?
thickens.
Dramatic effect.
Dun dun
Sorry.
dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, you have 10.
Could do you have them written down on the slides? Which ones I've already read off?
I had them, but they were all out of order.
So you've said
I'm going as you're going.
Because
now.
You're good,
far,
you're good.
I had Hobbs 10,
Yep.
Fast 9, then Fast 6, then 5, then 8, then 7, and my last one was 4.
You didn't pick Fast 5. That's
You
what
didn't
it
pick
was.
Fast
Oh, did I
5.
skip
That's what
Fast
threw me
5?
off.
Yeah, you skipped Fast 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then that's my fault. If we could go, we could retcon that a little bit. Throw Fast 5 in between. Yeah.
That was your 10, 9, 8, 7. was
That would have been my
Fast 5.
7. So
So we did skip one there.
Yeah.
that's my fault. I can re-go over that if you want me to, or we can move on.
Hey, fella, no worries. We're all human.
We'll go back.
I wouldn't mind hearing why you have Fast 5 in the bottom half when this was the one that essentially kind of put the franchise over the map. Is it because of that?
Yeah, I think maybe I was a little bit mad at it.
Ah, gotcha.
I mean, hey, having a couple Chargers pulling a giant safe down the street's pretty cool. Again, a little bit over the top, but that was pretty cool. But yeah, I might be a little bit better at the path. That
So would you say the argument, Steve, is that this is kind of where it went mainstream, and
Yeah.
it got a little.
Out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I mean I dig that a lot because that's a huge take on a lot of different things.
The moment
when
the Rocks gets into something.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, he does a great
that
job
guy
at what he
behind
does,
you.
but
Steve, I don't know if you watch like old episodes of like just this show, but on 2 Beers Deep we had for Greg and I, we did a ranking where we had to pick like some action stars to like.
Oh God.
So literally, my cousin Derek, he did different characters of Dwayne the Rock Johnson for every single pick.
Every single
So,
pick.
so
It was amazing.
he was
I
just
remember
like,
watching it at home, just cracking up
Oh
watching it.
God, I was dying.
it's a pretty
Oh,
strong
man.
group, though. Yeah.
It was great.
So you were saying that your number 7 was Fast 5? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everything else is bumped up 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so what exactly would have been your number 4?
I would have had Fast 4 at number 4.
Fast 4, number 4. Okay,
Yeah.
just looking so I can go where I go. Number 4 for me is going to be one that you had particularly low, and I'm interested to see what you think of it. So, because my number 4 is Fast 6. I personally thought that this was one of the. I get it. It's not like the craziest of everything that goes down, but like the action is crazy with like the tank scene. This made me think a lot if you guys have ever like played. So I just finished rerunning my play of Arkham Knight for Xbox, and it made me think so much of like different cars going up against a tank that it made me feel like the Batmobile against the Cloudburst tank in that in that game. So maybe I'm a little biased for putting it on that for that reason, but overall, like, I mean, this is the one where Michelle Rodriguez is. I don't know if is she introduced in this one? I don't know if she's introduced or brought back.
She's brought back, yeah.
Okay, brought back. Yeah, thank you. So that was a little bit of a nice like swing on it as well for me, because we talk about all the different actors and actresses coming back, but I thoroughly thought this would have been in the more of the top 5.
Yeah, I think for the reason when I said when I first brought it up, the tank scene's a bit over the top for me. Not to play that card again, but I couldn't put any higher than I did because I need to have my top 3 where I have my top 3. So
got you. Well, then let's stop shitting the bricks here and actually get to number 3. So Steve, your number 3.
Yeah, you're falling apart now.
You zip.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah. I'm not trying. I'm just spinning it.
You're jumping the starting line.
Yeah, let them flow naturally. Come on.
So I had Too Fast, Too Furious here.
Oh, so I went way.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It's just it's kind of the epitome of if you took the first movie's special effects, and when they hit the NOS, the whole reality warps around them.
Right.
They took that to a whole other level. The flames shooting out the cars are the same color as the car. When Suki's car goes over the bridge, it hits the thing. The sparks are even pink in the car.
Yeah.
They took the original concept and made it even more ridiculous. I guess it's so over the top, which is something I've said I don't like, but it's in such a cheesy 2000s car way that it brings back so many memories of playing like Midnight Club and those games.
Oh no, and I agree that like the scenes where like you look forward to them like boosting out the nitrous, like it's pretty cool when they actually do it.
So I'm interested to see where you have this one that I put at 3, because knowing you, this might be your number 1, but I thoroughly enjoyed it enough based on the concept. It knew what it was, and a lot of people are like, it is what it is. But I am going to say for my number 3, I'm going to say Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
I am honestly stunned that both of you have this one so high.
I love this one, man. I love this
Steve
one.
always talks about this one.
Like, because I remember when this one came out after the first 2, and I mean I saw it in theaters and I thought it was cool, but like I didn't think like it was that great, to be honest with you. I mean, I loved the scene at the end where Dom Toretto's there. I thought that was awesome, but like still.
Wasn't Bow Wow in this one?
Yeah, Bow Wow's in this one.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised you have this one as high as you do as well. But I'm perfectly fine with you having it at 3. I think that's
I think this one is like, it's weird because a lot of people, when they talk about the Fast and Furious franchise, like they consider almost maybe this one like the black sheep
of
the Fast and Furious one. But maybe that's why I love it so much. Maybe it was so underappreciated that when I watched it, I was like, what are people talking about? Like it is literally on the subject of street racing. And yeah, Takashi wasn't like the greatest villain. It kind of made me feel like it was that 2000s vibe. Have you guys seen like Never Back Down? Like this kind of like made me feel like the bully character, like kind of like whatever, like he's doing it, whatever. Like but maybe that's why I love it so much. Maybe I found like a diamond in the rust with this. I like this film a lot.
I think in the rust.
Have you never heard that phrase?
Yeah, it's 2 different things actually.
I've never heard Rust either.
I've never heard Rust.
There's actually a wrestler with the last name Rust, and that's one of his catchphrases.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
NXT. But I think after the fact we appreciate this film a little bit more, because when you realize that it takes place after the 4th, 5th, and 6th movies, I think that's where we get into it. Because 4th, 5th, and 6th, you understand like Han going home essentially. Like he even talks about it in Tokyo Drift, where he talks about how like this was his sanctuary essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, I have it at 3. I think it is a glorious rendition to the series, and I thoroughly enjoy it so much. Your number 2, Steve.
So I have Tokyo Drift at number 2. you know, for all the same reasons we just said, just a little bit higher for me. Honestly, it's probably my favorite movie in the series. I just couldn't put it over my number one.
Yep.
It just couldn't do it. But just the soundtrack in that movie is just so incredibly like weirdly car scene 2000s. It's perfect. You know, plenty of neon. There's so many cool, you know, little Japanese cars in the movie. It's just, you know, you love it or you hate it, but I love it.
So my number 2, I don't remember exactly where you put this one, Steve, so I'll have to debate on it, but my number 2 is Fast Furious 7. Specifically, I know maybe I'm pulling the Paul Walker card, like, because that's how it was remembered, and it was such a... The ending of it was such a... I'm trying to find the words to it. It's such a right way that it ended up that, like, it, like, tugged at the heartstrings a lot for me at the end, knowing, of course, of what happened. But, I mean, you go back to the ridiculous action scenes. I mean, there's cars out of planes and shit, like all this different things going. I mean, The Rock is there, you know, you have Kurt Russell and shit, and Jason Statham. Just, it's Deckard Shaw by far, like I said before, the best villain of the franchise. So having that with what's going on here, I could not leave it out of the top 3. Had to put it at 2.
Yeah, I could see it being higher. I mean, honestly, having, you know, what, Paul Walker died like 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I want to say that's right,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously knowing that happened that long ago, and having seen the ending scenes of the movie with the song playing and all that a million times, whenever you watch the whole movie, you know, play out and that scene hits, it almost does make, you know, draw a tear or two, because it's just, it really drives home the whole end of the, you know, Paul Walker era with the, with the series. And they did do such a good job with the CGI. You don't realize he's not there until you realize it's that last scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think you had a number 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the top 5. I mean, that's still respectable in its own right. I don't want to take away from his list or anything, but yeah, I get the reasons why he would put it low and like I would put it high, because, you know, he's not an act, like, he's more of the car base with these movies, like, and I'm more of the action. So obviously the lists are going to differ, which I'm interested to see how the court's going to vote on this, because
who's the real winner.
Exactly. So, and now the grand finale. You know, we're about to cross the finish line, about to wave that checkered flag. So exactly, tell me, number 1, Steve, what is number 1?
I have to go with the original Fast and Furious movie. It literally changed the car world forever. You know, you had kids going to movie theaters and drag racing the parking lot on the way out. I was way too young for this. Don't get me wrong. I was like 6 years old. So, like, you know, but, you know, I've seen videos. You know, I've heard people telling stories about the time. I mean, just today I saw went home from work. I saw a Ford Fusion with a big drift wing on the back and purple spoilers. Like, you know, that kid grew up watching the movies, and he wouldn't have done that without that. You know. It's just the tuner scene, the muscle car scene, everything wouldn't be where it was today without the movie. So I have to put it at number 1.
It's respectable at that, man. I mean, like you said, the whole entire franchise wouldn't be what it was without that film, and like you said, with the muscle cars and everything, and just how well that was drawn to that type of, you know, people that wanted to see that in these films. Like all of it was very well received, you know, to the point where we're on Fast 9, you know. So yeah. Obviously they were doing something right. My number 1 is, like I said, the one I haven't mentioned yet, but it's the one that you had in the lower tier. And number 1 for me is Fast 5.
I can definitely tell the difference between you guys now. Like, you definitely
were the car guy.
You're definitely the car guy. Austin is definitely the cinema guy on this one.
I'm very much like and I'm not to say that I'm not a car guy myself. Like, I get it. I just feel like the action in this movie is the best out of all of the films that we have seen to date. Like, it's not over the top crazy, but it is definitely when the jaws started dropping at holy shit, what are they gonna do next?
Right.
And that's exactly when they look at these films and see where a line it's gonna go. But I mean, just Dwayne Johnson, like in this film, I loved him. I loved at where it was going. I loved the direction. I couldn't have it anywhere else but number one. I mean, my honest opinion. But Steve, like, going from an action persona, like, is this where the number one needs to be from like an action state?
I can't tell you no. I think that's a pretty fair statement. Yeah, from an action scene, an action standpoint, yeah, it was the first blowout action movie of the franchise, so I think it's fair to say it did open eyes for a lot of people in the franchise.
I feel like both of your number ones are the reasons why you like this movie franchise.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you like the car aspect. He likes the action-packed films.
You put them together, you got two guys that love the Fast and Furious franchise.
That's very
That
true.
still blows my mind that you both have Tokyo Drift so high. It's weird.
It's
I would have
so
thought.
good.
I know, but I would have thought for sure. I would have thought for sure Austin would have had it in the bottom half, and you would have had top half. It's weird.
It's just the persona of it, man. It's the feeling. It's the energy.
Bow Wow.
It's hey.
Bow Wow
I'm
makes
gonna go play some fresh Amis after
Oh
this.
my
That's what
God.
it's gonna do. But yeah, I couldn't have wanted a better guest for the show with it, Steve. We'll leave a couple minutes for you. If you have anything to plug, you are more than welcome to do it so now, sir.
I have nothing to plug. I'm a very boring person. Wow, something just came to me that I would be a terrible, terrible guest, on your guys' show without plugging these incredible shirts.
Oh wow, that's a nice shirt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa!
Where'd you get that?
I bought it on the Thoughts from the Bench website.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, we have a website.
Yeah, we do.
They
Whoa!
do. They are Gildan shirts. I wear literally 90% of my wardrobe is Gildan shirts. They're perfect. Best t-shirts really that you can buy.
High quality people.
It's true.
High quality people for a high quality shirt and a high quality commercial to boot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to our episode of the RankKing's Court for the Fast and the Furious. Steve, again, you've been a wonderful guest, a wonderful influence of the car community that I didn't think that I would have needed in my life, but I am very appreciative of it because you gave me a new aspect of these films, and maybe I'll go back through all of them and watch them in a different light because that's the whole reason we watch these stuff, right? Like, we want to watch it maybe and have a different persona, different spectacle with it. So I very much appreciate you being on the show, good sir.
Thanks for having me.
I'm always willing to have. Tune in next week. We're going to have a new topic for you guys. Always the same time. Always the same goofy bunch. Always the same stuff of the RankKing's Court. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Court is adjourned.
Court is adjourned.